Privacy. Probably the most underappreciated asset you can have. I mean, we give all of our data to Google, we give it all to Apple, we give it to Amazon. We basically have people watching us every single day and they know exactly what we do. And even using Bitcoin, Ethereum, and several of the other public by default cryptocurrencies, it actually leaves more of a paper trail. Despite current market conditions, this token is actually outperforming against BTC. In fact, from its lows earlier this year, it's up almost 70% in BTC terms. In today's KuCoin DigiDive, we're going to be talking about Monero and the XMR token. We're going to be talking about some updates with the protocol, what's going on, how is the community, what are some metrics, and are these guys building in the bear? If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. And if you guys would like to get started trading with this coin, links in the description below to get 20% off trading fees. So what is Monero? Well, the TLDR on Monero is that it's basically private electronic cash. So if you like the technology of cryptocurrency, this is the same exact concept, except transactions are private. So the only person that knows what you spent or who you spent it to. So it's everything you know and love with Bitcoin, Ethereum, except it's now private. Every single transaction is hidden. So if I transact with another merchant, he just knows that he got money. He doesn't know it came from my wallet. He doesn't know where it came from, but I do have viewing keys as well as transaction keys. That way, if he is like, oh, you never paid me. Well, yeah, actually I did, John. So here are some of the core values of the Monero ecosystem. The first is security. In order to keep the utmost security, Monero rewards the miners. They give the full block reward because these guys are the most critical for providing security. Second, Monero takes pride in privacy. Every single transaction is private. You can spin transactions with anyone you want without people getting to know your previous spending history or your spending habits. And third is decentralization. The XMR token is properly decentralized, especially since it's a proof of work coin. And most of the miners, in order to pay expenses for electricity as well as hardware, they have to sell the XMR token to keep rolling. We also have a specialized algorithm that prevents miners from taking the huge market share of the mining operation. If you go on the Monero website, they have a really good introductory video that's about 5 minutes long. I highly recommend you guys take a look into it. Let me go ahead and show you guys the Monero Block Explorer so you can understand this a little better. As you can see here, it's kind of similar to a blockchain or an Etherscan, but there are a couple of key differences. The main difference has to do with less details. As you can see here, if you select on any of these different transaction hashes, you can see a group of transactions inside of them. I'm going to go ahead and select this one, and you can see you have a mix of outputs and inputs. So both the amounts of the transaction as well as the address are obfuscated based on this. So if you were a merchant and you wanted your customer to prove that they paid the transaction, what you can do is say, hey, I need you to provide the secret key as well as the address that you sent it to, which would be the merchant in this case. So they would put the merchant's address as well as the secret key, and they would prove payment. Once they hit prove payment, it will say this amount of Monero was sent. If the merchant wanted to confirm that he received the funds, what he would provide is his address as well as his viewing key. This will allow him to see, oh yeah, you received this many XMR. And without getting too technical about XMR, this is meant to just be a brief overview of how XMR works and what it's looking to do. There are three main technologies behind XMR. The first has to do with stealth addresses. This allows for automatic one-time addresses for each and every transaction. Second is ring signatures. This is basically a group of cryptographic signatures with at least one participant that's the actual user. The transactions in that block are basically mixed together into one. So it's all obfuscated into one block, so nobody knows exactly which payment came from who. And lastly is RingCT. This is a way to hide the amount sent in the Monero transaction. This could be due from a mix of inputs that are given as an output. An input is money coming into the wallet, and an output is money going out of that wallet address. And again, if you'd like to learn more, I highly recommend listening to this video on getmonero.org to get a full overview of what they're looking to do. Now let's go and go over a couple of growth metrics to see how Monero is doing. This is the hash rate chart for Monero. This is always a good chart to look at. As you can see, the hash rate is trending up and to the right. In proof of work coins, what a hash rate is it's a measure of the computation power on a certain network. So in theory, the higher this is, the more secure it is. The reason being is that it takes higher computation power in order to double spend or revert the blockchain. Now here are some of the historical transactions for Monero. As you can see, this is also up and to the right. This is something that you want to see. A dead blockchain would basically be one that is stagnant. This is constantly going up and having more and more transactions. This means that there are more users for XMR and more people dealing with it each day. Here's an example of one that is not so much. This is Bitcoin Gold. As you can see here, it had a lot of transactions and basically the historical transactions are dead. Next, we want to see how their developer activity is. As you can see here, based on some of their GitHub repos, they are still making commits and they're still updating the protocol. Here's an example of a protocol that, well, is not so much. It has no developer activity since March 27th. So for the past 4 months, it has no activity. This is something you don't want to see. And briefly looking at their roadmap, it looks like they're completing a lot of the different milestones that they have. They do have some things coming up in the future. One has to do with Havino, return addresses, second layer solutions, as well as some additional privacy technology. Now, Monero is a little bit different than these other tokens like layer 1 coins or DeFi tokens. The difference is that Monero is actually used in the real world. Let me go ahead and show you guys a couple of the different stores, shops, and businesses you can use XMR at. On this website, there's basically 1,200 different companies that accept Monero. You can search for shops, markets, internet services, offline services, tourism, crypto services, business services, gambling, you name it. You also have another website on acceptedhere.io. This is for XMR. This shows all the different websites where you can also spend XMR. There are basically 300 different categories of businesses that accept XMR as payment. Now let's go ahead and talk about the token's potential. This is actually ranked 29 on CoinMarketCap. This token's actually stood the test of time. It has been around since 2014 and came from as low as 21 cents. So it has charts that are similar to Bitcoin. So it has some astronomical growth. And as you can see in Bitcoin prices, it hasn't been doing amazing, but it's been holding up pretty well. And as for its staying power and moat, it's only getting stronger and stronger as time progresses. Because similar to Bitcoin, how it capitalized on the digital gold, and even though it's the biggest and slowest mover, it has the most market share because of the network effect. The same goes for Monero. Most people look at Monero and they know Monero as a privacy coin, and anyone who is looking for a private digital cash solution, they go to XMR. And as time goes on, this only strengthens. Especially as new tokens come out, they still need to be proven, and XMR has stood the test of time so far. Now, Monero is not without risks. In fact, there are a couple of risks in particular. The first has to do with government regulation. Sure, the transactions are private and nobody knows who is using what, and they don't know who is transacting with the Monero token, but if someone was able to find out, that wouldn't be a good thing. Next risk is the Monero privacy technology being broken. If that was to break, that's the whole point of Monero, is a private digital cash. And if that is broken, then there is no Monero. There are other risks as well, but these are the two main risks you should be worried about with Monero. Now overall, what are my thoughts on the Monero token? Me personally, I really like the privacy cash solution. This is really important, and people don't understand when they're using Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of these other blockchains. For the most part, they are public. Anyone and everyone can see every single transaction that you've ever done on that wallet through history. So if you wanted to send your funds to a new wallet thinking you're obfuscating your funds, well, not so much. You can still see that output from your previous wallet address to your new wallet address. So having to go through things like Tornado Cash or going through exchanges and having that risk of a protocol looking at your wallet after you get it out of Tornado Cash like, whoa, you got some tainted coin. Monero doesn't have that problem because all of the tokens are private and nobody knows which tokens came from who. I also think it's a great alternative if you're looking to pay someone and you don't want them to know your transaction history. If it's to a friend, whatever, but if you're paying to someone you don't want them to know your transaction history, then using XMR as a solution would be essential. let's go ahead and hit you guys with a wisdom one-liner. Proverbs chapter 12 verses 4. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. Whew, that's rough. I hope you guys enjoyed this KuCoin DigiDive, and if you guys would like to learn more about the Monero protocol and how it's building in the bear, make sure you guys check out the Monero website at getmonero.org. You can also get started trading with this coin on KuCoin and get 20% off trading fees. If you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. That way you stay up to date who's building in the bear, security tips, as well as how to navigate the crypto markets. If you guys want to see some of our previous videos, there's one here, here, and like there. We'll see you guys in the next one.